Learn how to use the constructor name property to dynamically inspect a typed array. Here is my boilerplate code. With the constructor name property, you can dynamically inspect a typed array and find out exactly what data type it is using. Now, in a normal JavaScript array, you can easily check the type of your array with the type of property, and it will just tell you that they are a generic object. But with type arrays, knowing the exact type is crucial because int array behaves very differently from an integer 32 array, and so on and so forth. So the constructor name property acts like an official ID scan, returning the exact string name of the blueprint function that created the array. And that is the purpose of this example. So I'll go ahead and then create the typed array. Containing, let's say, 8 slots. And you know that by default, this type will be initialized to 0. If it is not number, you understand what this means. It will not work inside of this. So now that I have this comment, then I can go ahead and make that typed array. So let me call it my array. And then I will call it the new int 32 array. So I want to use this typed array method and then pass in the number of slots, which is 8. So now it's time to reach the name of the constructor function. Reach the name of the constructor function to know what generates this instance. Generates this instance. So how do I do that? Well, const array types, I make a variable for it, and then I can call my array name, which is my array, then the constructor and name property. Now let me display the results. Supplement split element by nature. Question. Array type plus array type. And now you can see on my screen, array type is integer 32 array. And if you look closely at what we have here, you can see that the typed array constructor is actually integer 32 array. So as a developer or as someone who's working on something, you might have an instinct that why not just look at my code and see what array type it is. For instance, looking at this our code, you can easily see that this is an int 32 array. It's simply referring to an integer 32 array. So your instinct might be like, why do you have to go through this process to understand the type of array that you are working with? Well, this property that we talked about, constructor.name property, is incredibly useful when you write reusable helper functions that process generic numbers. For example, if you build a functions that process binary data from a file, you can use this constructor.name property to check the incoming array type and adjust your algorithm accordingly. So that is the usefulness of this method, not just for only when you want to check what do I call it? Not only when you want to check the data type of your typed array. So you can also use it for other things. An example of which I just gave now, concerning if you are reading from a file, if you are working with a file, like having a functions that process binary data from a file. So that is one way where this method, this property is incredibly useful, because with the presence of this, you can adjust your algorithm accordingly in order to get what you want from your code or from your module at any point in time.